2018 was the absolute worst. Honestly, there were a lot more sad moments that just gave me a lot of sadness and kind of screwed everything up and only made things more stressful. Huh. You know, maybe to make myself feel better, may as well share some sad moments in Pokemon to help out. Hey pups, RP here. 2018 had put me in the worst spot of all time. A crap ton of crap happened online and IRL, and I'm surprised that I'm not in the funny farm by now. So, hopefully to keep whatever sanity I have left in check, and to vent out some of my sadness and frustrations, and to relieve some built-up stress, I'm listing off the top 10 saddest moments in Pokemon. For this list, I'm counting off the saddest moments in the anime, games, manga, and movies. Even though I haven't really read any mangas, only a few, and maybe they won't appear on the list, and there's only one game on this list. Sorry. Also, please know that these are the moments I chose for this list, and if there's a sad moment that you expected to see on this list, please share in the comments below. Also, major spoilers ahead. If you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you either play the games, watch the anime and movies, or read the mangas. With all that out of the way, let's begin. This episode was the one that almost made us worry about what would happen if Ash or Pikachu went their separate ways. It was like Mike and I splitting up that one time. You can't imagine one without the other. In the episode, Pikachu meets a baby Pikachu, and the gang is led to a gigantic herd of Pikachus. At first, the wild Pikachus are skeptical of Ash's Pikachu, but they grow to accept him. Later in the episode, Brock remarks that Pikachu would be happier with his own kind. As expected, Team Rocket tries to capture all the Pikachus, but automatically fail. And Ash starts to think about what Brock says, and straight up runs off telling Pikachu he's better off without him. This one doesn't make it any better either. Just when you think Ash is without his partner in crime, Pikachu returns, as a group of Pikachus cheer them on. Honestly, I'm glad this episode had a happy ending, and I'm glad Ash and Pikachu didn't leave each other. But this may not be the case for the other moments on this list. The ending to Hey You Pikachu. I had the game when I was a kid, but never truly finished it, though I did see it was talked about in other videos. When you finish the game, a cutscene plays with Pikachu and a herd of Pikachu similar to Pikachu's Goodbye, but more emotional in a sense. Professor Oak says that you have to say goodbye to Pikachu, and the emotions he has are, well, I'll just play the clip.
No. Ah, why are you doing this to me, Nintendo? Bye. Making me say it.
Honestly, I don't have any words, but this is even more emotional than the anime. Thankfully, Pikachu returns to you, letting you know that he never leaves your side. Even though I never played the game all the way through, this is still pretty sad. Latios sacrifices himself in Pokemon Heroes. I didn't think Pokemon would touch on death in their movies or anime again. Boy was I wrong. Death must be on a roll when it comes to movie deaths in Pokemon. Pokemon Heroes is about the Dragon Twins, Latios and Latias. Latios gets stolen along with the Soul Orb by these spy ladies, Annie and Oakley. Unfortunately, Oakley becomes mad with power, and chaos ensues upon their town, with Latios being hurt pretty badly. He and Latios had to use their powers to stop the evil that has been unleashed. He basically sacrificed himself to save the city. Honestly, the vision of him seeing the world out in space or up in heaven is poetic, and very beautiful as sad as it is, as well as bringing back a remastered or new Soul Orb. It didn't fully process to me on what I just witnessed when I first saw the movie. I just figured that he'd come back to life like Ash or Celebi, but apparently not. He just ends up dying and not coming back. He just ends up dying. Latios, your sacrifice will not, nor will it ever be forgotten. The Kangaskhan Kid. I remember this episode so well. There was even one time where either me or some other kid brought a VHS tape of the Great Pokemon Race to class in kindergarten, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself very much that day. But enough reminiscing on my broken childhood memories. Back to the main topic at hand. I always watched VHS tapes of Pokemon as a kid, most of the Kanto episodes, and two of my favorites were Pokefriends and the Great Pokemon Race. The episode of the Kangaskhan Kid was said to be a Pokemon version of Disney's Tarzan. As told by Brandon to the Past, don't care what he says, this episode is still awesome, I still like it. But I still get feels whenever I watch this episode, or let alone think about it. The fact that Tommy or Tomo's only 7 or 8 years old, or even younger, and his irresponsible father kinda, well, dropped him. At least he was wearing his parachute, and that's good. They were both upset about losing their son, who has been raised by Kangaskhan in the Safari Zone. But the injured baby Kangaskhan that was found, the memory loss Tommy had of his birth mother, the climax thinking Tommy's parents literally died in a plane crash to stop Team Rocket. Jeez, Pokemon! Why you gotta scar us little kids and fans for life, dude? Thankfully, Tommy's parents survived the crash, surprisingly enough, and decided to live in the Safari Zone with Tommy and help protect the Kangaskhan too. So luckily, there's a happy ending to that story. And if we're being honest here, this version of Tarzan was the only one I saw before the Disney one, and it was more emotional than the movie. Please don't come to my house to murder me and steal my soul. Pokemon the Movie 3, Spell the Unown. Which part of the movie was sad? All of it. Molly having lost her father to Unown, literally, they forced him into an endless vortex. Having to live with her imagination that's literally taking over her home, calling an imaginary Entei Papa, calling Ash's mom Mama, and the near climax believes everything is real, and thinking that Ash and his friends were the enemies when the enemies were the Unown this whole time. And finally, having to come to terms and saying goodbye to Entei when he leaves or dies. I don't know which one it was, I can't really pick which was sadder, but still. Also, on a lighter note, Charizard returns for the movie. We miss you, Charizard. You're still the best in our book. Speaking of which... Charmander, the Stray Pokemon. I've seen this episode over 1,000 times, and I can safely say, why did I not cry at this episode? Honestly, this is the most cruel thing in the world that happens to IRL animals. Getting back on topic. The episode is about some jerkwad abandoning his Charmander. Charmander almost dying in the rain, nearly getting attacked by Spearow, getting saved by Ash and his friends, burning the crap out of Team Rocket, to save Pikachu, was already bitterly sweet enough for my childlike innocence to handle, knowing Charmander would be saved. But when his trainer Damien comes back to show his true colors, I wanted to punch that mother fluffer in the face. Thankfully, Charmander and Pikachu did that for me, but knowing that animals don't have the same miracles and second chances that Charmander was given already breaks my heart. This episode should be called How to Stop Animal Abuse and Animal Cruelty, Pokemon style. The episode seemed to teach kids that even though Pokemon aren't real, they can do the same thing Ash, Brock, and Misty did to Charmander, by saving animals and giving them forever homes. Celebi nearly dies in Pokemon Forever. Remember that Team Rocket man that controlled Celebi for evil? Yeah, I do. I hated him. Thankfully, Ash and Sammy, spoiler alert, it's actually Professor Oak as a kid, saved Celebi. But Celebi pretty much died. Ash tried to put Celebi in the water even after Suicune purified it, but that didn't work. He tried the berries, but that didn't work. And it was pretty much, Celebi dies, that's nature, and then nature's gonna die, and there's nothing we can do about it because it's the circle of life. But before all that could happen, a group of Celebi helped the dying Celebi and revived it, so that Celebi is now a zombie? Sorta? Maybe? I won't count it. But Celebi nearly dying was upsetting enough. What if Celebi died and all time died along with the nature? I know Celebi can't technically control nature, but Zoroark Massive Evolutions proved that wrong. I think. Either that or I'm just stupid. Zoroark dies in Zoroark Massive Illusions. Speak of the Dark Fox though, and the Dark Fox shall appear. This movie is one of my favorites next to Lucario the Mystery of Mew. The movie is about Zoroark and Zorua. Fun fact, Zoroark calls Zoroark Mima, and that's another word he uses to call Zoroark Mom, who were kidnapped by Koda, and he uses Zoroark for evil, and basically keeps her in prison throughout the whole movie. While Zora, Ash, and the gang help him find Zoroark, it's just a feels fest throughout the whole movie, with the viewer just hoping and praying that they get back together soon. They eventually do, but at a cost. Koda nearly kills Zoroark. He gets his comeuppance, and Zoroark pretty much dies after all the pain she went through. And Zoroark tries to wake her up. And funny thing about this scene that I want to get out there, it reminds me of that one scene in The Lion King. You know the one where Simba finds Mufasa's dead body and tries to wake him up and calls for help, but no one comes, and snuggles up against his dead father, and oh my Arceus, Disney, Pokemon, are you two partnering up with each other to make people cry? Okay, got off topic for a sec there. The fact that Zora creates an illusion of their home, basically sobbing his heart out and crying out, Mima, is enough to make even the toughest biker dude cry. Thankfully, Celebi revives her, and I guess she's a zombie too? I won't count that either. Well then where were you when Mufasa died, Celebi? Imagine if that happened, and Zora had to evolve into a Zoroark and kill Koda himself. That'd be really sad and upsetting, that he had to avenge his mom, when he just got reunited with her. Also, Koda got arrested for being an ass. Serves him right, too. Lucario dies in Lucario the Mystery of Mew. You aren't surprised that this is on this list, are you? I remember watching this movie on Cartoon Network when I was about 10 years old. Seeing this movie, I was already getting fresh into the Lucario fandom. Plus, this was pre-Smash Bros. Era, but I was excited to see Lucario as a new Pokemon. Look at him, he's just the cutest little pupper ever! Anyways, during the climax where Mew gets sick from saving Ash and the others from being white blood cell tree food, they found out that Sir Aaron gave his order to stop the war and save the kingdom. And they had to do the same thing, but by saving Mew from getting worse and dying along with the Tree of Beginning. Lucario legit knows his fate, and it wasn't strong enough, so Ash helps out, and later Lucario takes care of the rest. And as he dies, he finally knows the full story in Aaron's death speech. Lucario gets emotional, apologizes for doubting his best friend and master, and for failing him. Ash reassures him that he proved himself to be noble and a true guardian of Aura. Lucario thanking him for his reassurance, he soon dies going to Aaron. And the epilogue credits scene of him and Aaron in heaven pretty much made me happy that they were together again, but still sad that they were, you know, dead. Just like Latios, your sacrifice won't, nor will it ever be forgotten, Lucario. Before we get to number 1, I'd like to give out a few honorable mentions. Bye Bye Butterfree. Just the entire episode is an emotional roller coaster ride. In the episode, Ash and the gang help Butterfree find a mate. He finds a pink Butterfree, which she rejects him. He even tries showing off his powers to her, but to no avail. It isn't until Team Rocket enters the scene and kidnaps all the Butterfree. As expected, their plan fails as Ash, Brock, and Misty save the Butterfree, and the pink Butterfree falls in love with Ash's Butterfree. And we get to the end. Ash and Butterfree had to say goodbye. Ash saying goodbye to the first Pokemon he captured, and rewatching all the memories he had with him in the past episodes is heartbreaking enough. The sad thing is, while Ash's other Pokemon made a comeback like Charizard, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, Butterfree never came back. Arbok and Weezing leave Team Rocket. I don't know the episode's name, but I know it by heart. The episode is a Team Rocket episode, where Meowth finds a group of Ekans and coughing in a cage. Jesse and James arrive later with Arbok and Weezing. They find out they were captured by poachers, and they try to fight them off, but to no avail. So they tell Arbok and Weezing to flee with the Ekans and coughing to safety. Not wanting to leave their masters, they go by their orders. The scene of them fleeing and Team Rocket getting their butts kicked, and Arbok and Weezing crying as they lead the Ekans and coughing to safety, it's just emotionally heartstring tugging. Just like Butterfree, Arbok and Weezing don't come back. Charizard's goodbye. I've only seen part of this episode. Ash takes Charizard to a Charizard resort or village. I don't know which one it is. But at the end of the episode, he tells Charizard to stay and get stronger with the other Charizards. This ends up probably the saddest goodbye ever. Even more sad than Pikachu and more emotional than Butterfree's. Even though Charizard was the most disobedient Pokemon of Ash's, he was still heckin' awesome. And saying goodbye to him was just depressing. I can't think of another word for it other than that. Pokemon the movie, I Choose You. This movie was a feels fest for all Pokemon fans who grew up watching the original anime on TV, DVDs, or VHS tapes. The movie itself was absolutely beautiful and phenomenal. Some of the saddest moments were the ones that were remade from the classic episodes. Charmander the stray Pokemon, Bye Bye Butterfree, I cried at that scene. And Ash dying, or in this case disappearing with Pikachu speaking and crying out for Ash. But come on, Ash has already died more times than Goku and Vegeta combined. Regardless, I highly recommend you watch the movie. It's amazing. Stoutland's death in the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime. I haven't seen this episode, but I've heard about it and seen clips of it. Alina's trying to learn Fire Fang, and Stoutland is doing his best to help him, but he's far too old and sick to do much of anything else. That's why Lynn brings him things like food and water. Ash ends up taking Stoutland to the Pokemon Center, with the bad news that he might not be able to make it. And there's also a sad poetic metaphor, where every time a tree loses one of its leaves, Stoutland's health gets worse. Eventually, the last leaf falls, and Linton realizes that his only father figure, his teacher, his guardian, his parent, his best friend, is gone. Of course, Ash and the other Pokemon do their best to comfort him with food, but Linton's too depressed to eat. When the episode ends, Linton is able to move on, knowing that Stoutland's spirit is always with him, and joins Team Ash with a cloud image of Stoutland and a rainbow at the end. This episode is one that everyone needs to watch, Pokemon fans or non-Pokemon fans. Whether they lost a pet, a best friend, or a loved one, as sad as it is, it's probably one of the most relatable episodes that has ever been made in Pokemon. So that was my top 10 list of the saddest moments of Pokemon. I may make a part 2 in the future, and if you guys want to see a part 2, or have a sad moment in Pokemon that you expected to see on this list, please share in the comments below. Also, I know there was a lot of death on this list, but that's because death is sad and depressing and I don't like it. Nobody likes death. Anyways, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to be part of the Puppet Pack today. Huge thanks to my Patreon for support. Links to my Patreon and PayPal are down below if you want to support what I do or donate to me. No fan art for today, but if you want your fan art featured, my social links are down below as well. As always, I'll see you later, pups. Stay awesome, stay strong, and stay beautiful.